Saryuja Skull Dread is not good for links. Hey, what's up YouTube? This is the Mermail Master coming at you guys again with another discussion video. This time I'm going to be talking about Saryuja Skull Dread and some of the recent link monsters that have been released. This is tying up into, of course, a bigger video where I'm going to discuss further some of the other stuff about link monsters and just really, I'm not really a fan of the mechanic, as you guys very much know. But I think Konami had a chance to make it into something a little bit better. But I think Saryuja and, things like Topologic Gamble Dragon and other stuff like that are a step in the wrong direction, in my personal opinion. So, what do I mean by that? Well, up until this point, Konami had designed Link monsters as a way to help you, use the Link monsters to go into other extra deck monsters, and you had to really get an extra deck full of Links in order to be competitive in the current format. Links had a less than specific summoning requirement, and Konami could take advantage of that by restricting access to the extra deck for those who played Link monsters. Prior to the release of Saryuja, there were only two four-linked monsters, and those monsters were Firewall Dragon and Borreload Dragon in the first two sets, Code of the Duelist and Circuit Break, respectively. When Extreme Force came out, Saryuja came out, and it bucked the trend. And now, I'm going to say, Saryuja is a fantastic card. In fact, it's incredible and fixes problems in a variety of different decks. For my Crystal Beast deck that allows me to send Crystal Beast back to my deck and draw some of the power spell cards that I need to other things, it's a hand-fixing card that can be brought out in any deck that can summon it and doesn't have any kind of summoning restrictions. In addition, if you summon it as well, you can also special summon one monster from your hand once per turn, which is another very, very good effect. And, its effect to give a 300 attack and defense boost to things that are co-linked to the card is not really that relevant, a lot of people have found, but you could find some use to it. The issue that I have with Saryuja is its link markers. And Saryuja has one link marker up above, and it also has, but it has three link markers down below. So it has one from the right, the bottom right, bottom middle, and bottom left. And why is this so important? Well, I think these link markers are very, very indicative of the kind of design that Konami does, where they release a new summoning mechanic, and they don't really explore the summoning mechanic as much, or they don't really give it enough stuff, because they want people to purchase a card and, play it in their decks and whatnot. And so what they did was, all of a sudden, after only 3 sets, they've given us a link marker that allows us to summon 3 extra deck monsters without it. Now, I didn't mention Topologic Bomber Dragon earlier because I wanted to save it for this particular thing. Topologic has 3 link markers. It's got the same exact link markers as Saryuja does, which is the 1 up to the top and then the 3 down on the bottom. And that's all well and good. However, it prevents you from doing a specific thing. And that thing is summoning the monsters, because every time it summons Topologic, every time a monster is summoned to a link marker that it points to, Topologic blows up the field. So, while you have really, really good link monsters, there's also kind of a restriction that goes along with that. Topologic is seeing play, but for someone who just wants to summon their extra deck monsters and who wants to ramp up into that kind of stuff, Saryuja is going to be the better option for that 10 times out of 10. And that I don't really like, because Saryuja by itself, it would be okay if Saryuja was maybe a generic monster, just a generic Link 4 that had those really, really good markers. I would totally understand. However, Saryuja is just it's got everything. It's got the really good markers. It has the effects that allow you to sort of redo your hand, like the mulligan that's so popular in Magic the Gathering. Doesn't minus you at all, even allows you to plus if you special summon a monster from your hand in addition to your normal summoner set that turn. just everything. And so I think like it's just got so much going for it so early in the game for Lynx that it sort of restricts design for future cards, because those future cards now have to measure up to a card that has all of these things going for it. And the idea that I had was that, like, let's say that we took Saryuja and we switched it around and made the link markers the top left, top middle, and top right. Made it a card like that. And in my honest opinion, I think Saryuja would still be played at the level that it is, because people really, they would be willing to, I guess, go for an all-or-nothing gamble and, really make that thing happen if they, if everything was pointed to your opponent. It's like, okay, we're going to use this card, I can... Even though I'm going to give my opponent 3 link markers, I'll be able to, draw all my cards, and then you just like draw all your cards, and then special summon your monster and try and go for the OTK there. Maybe even like get rid of Saryuja and use it for something else, just to get those link markers off the field. But I think that would be a way more viable alternative than the one that we currently got. And I think that there's a lot to be sort of gained from that, just understanding that this is happening. And Konami has done this before, with the design of their Synchro monsters and with the design of XYZ monsters. All of this has happened in the past, and I'm just really kind of iffy on their sort of strategic approach to designing monsters like this, because it restricts their design for future things. There's a lot of things that I wish they did with like synchros and XYZs in terms of like, making like, different types of XYZs that maybe require like a fusion monster in order to summon it or something of that nature. One synchro and one fusion of the same level allow you to go into an XYZ. Just like there's a lot of ways that a lot of like that, and that's just scratching the surface. Like a lot of obvious ways that Konami could have gone with it, but instead they just chose to focus on the rank 4 engine, and the rank 4 engine, of course, overlay 2 monsters into a rank 4. At first we started things out with like Maystroke, which just flipped a monster face down. That was targeting card was one of the best cards in the game, and it couldn't be destroyed by battle. But then we, of course, got things like our Honor Arc and Exciton Knight and, lots of other things that really just, Castel, that, like, revolutionized the rank 4 engine. And now, no one would ever even play old XYZs like, Maystroke and Cowboy and things like that, just because, you have this new stuff that's available. And I felt that Konami just bottlenecking themselves like that was just a really not so good way. And like, there's certain levels that got neglected. Like, we barely got any level, like rank 9 monsters. There's only like 5 or 6 rank 10s. Rank 11, rank 11 or like even level 11. We didn't even get a level 11 Synchro in Star Eater until midway through the XYZ era in Judgment of the Light. And, that kind of attitude and that kind of just everything that has happened up until that point creates a sort of just more trouble for Konami down the line, with extra deck monsters not being designed in a decent way. Like, Maystroke was one of the most fair cards in the game. It's an 1800 beater, but it was one of the top reigning XYZs for at least a couple of formats. And, if you take that into account and you take a look at the way that the game has evolved, Maystroke's never going to really be able to come back. As long as Castel or Arc or things like that are there, Maystroke has no place in the game. unless, you get summon 5 things off of flipping some random thing your opponent controls face down, then maybe that would happen. But up until then, I would not say so. But with that, getting back to the whole idea of Saryuja, I definitely think that it is way too good at this point in time, and it does way too much for so many decks to be really where Konami wants to go with Links at this time. Because now every single Link 4 monster has to, sort of live in Saryuja's shadow. They made the cards so incredibly good that in order to consider running, Topologic Gamble Dragon, for instance, they had to give it a discard 2 effect that'll just completely break it wide open. And I think a lot of casual players and other people are just upset that decks and stuff like that are getting a little bit more free in that respect. And it's definitely something that they want to see changed. For competitive players, however, there's other implications, and I've played matches and people have found the new stuff boring because there really is, just either solitaire on your turn or, complete disruption without interaction on your opponent's turn. And it just is not where the game wants to be if it wants to survive on a long turn and tap into markets besides the heftily competitive sphere. Because whether casual or competitive, people get tired of the game. That's just a fact. And there's nothing really you can do about that. So, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I apologize if it went on a little bit long, but I felt like this needed to be said. If you did like the video, please remember to give a rate, comment, and subscribe at the Team Time Riders YouTube channel for more awesome content just like this. This has been the Mermail Master with the Team Time Riders YouTube channel, and I'm signing out. Catch you guys next time. Peace.